We were talking about it. You could argue the defense may have been the stronger side of the ball a year ago, which is notable when you think about the early years of Mike Locksley's tenure. That was not the case. Got a lot back to 7 starters. Ruben Hippolyte, top returnee in terms of tackles a year ago. Fellow linebacker Kellen Wyatt led them in sacks. And how about that secondary? Glendon Miller's 4 picks were tied for 6th in the Big Ten. Dante Trader, their top returnee in terms of PBUs. That duo with Howard.
Guys, thanks for joining me. Tell me about where this program is now from when you came in.
Oof, I mean, you can start. You came in first. So.
Yeah, I came in 2020 COVID year, so I would say things have definitely changed, but I would say the leadership is mostly what's changed. The leadership, that's what's bringing us along. So I would say in that case, we're changing along the way. We're getting stronger and faster, leader-wise.
Yeah, I had to add, like, to come from a C team to a B team, you know, you just had to buy in, get everybody to buy into the same principles. And now we're trying to go from a B to an A, which we're trying to figure out. So those things are coming from the leadership, like he's saying. So, you know, a lot of things trial by fire. It's like, learn who your locker room is, learn everybody, and learn how they react under pressure. That's what helped this team come a long way.
Talk to me about C team, B team to the A team. What's the thought process there, and what does that look like without naming other people?
It looks like, you know, coaches putting it in the right place and the right systems and giving us the confidence to be able to do what we do day in and day out. But again, it falls on to us. You know, the coaches were able to push us up to that B level, and now to get to that next hump, again, like you ask Coach Locks, we have to figure that out ourselves. We got to do soul searching and things like that. So we always got to go back to the drawing board every week. So like last week is not the same as this week. This week's not going to be the same as next week. So just going back to the basics and finding out how do we correct our evils and our undisciplined things to be able to build to a better team.
Coach seems so loose right now. Even going back to media day for us, having a chance to interact with him. I've known him for a long time, but to me he seems so much more relaxed. Do you get that feeling as well, and why do you feel that way?
Yeah, I get that feeling as well, but I say that's because it comes back to leadership. He sees that he doesn't need to be as on us, as tight, because he sees us coming from within, like on offense, defense. We have our leaders that's telling us what to do and what not to do. So once his team led, he doesn't have to harp as much as he usually does, I would say.
Tell me some of the keys to win this year.
Keys to win, don't beat ourselves. I mean, we're going to say that until beat it into everybody's head. Don't beat ourselves. If you look, most of these games come down to 3 plays. If you look on the tape, it comes down to 3 plays. Could be a pump block, a big explosive play on kick return, or a big 3rd down stop you got a penalty on. And it always comes down to those 3 big plays. And you limit those plays, you know, the blue bloods of the Big Ten, they don't beat themselves. So when they get to that 4th quarter, they use our mantra, they headbutt to finish better than we do. So we're trying to figure that out in that process.
I would throw 2 more plays and say it's 5 affordable plays in every game, right? They could go the other way. How do you continue to make those plays?
Just doing your job, I would say, each and every play. Make sure you're keeping the main thing, the job. Make sure every drive is the same thing. Come out there with the same mindset every time. Remind yourself of what you want to do every drive, so everybody knows what the objective is each drive.
Philosophy of this program now.
Tough, hard-nosed. That we bought into that. It's been over the years. We've just been not given anything. So everything we do, we just trying to make it hard. We're trying to turn it up. Every year since I've been here, you can even ask him. The summer programs got harder. Our winter programs got harder. Everything has been getting turned up. Just a slow boil. The slow boil should be ready to pressure. You know what I'm saying? That pressure to release. And you know, this is that year that pressure gonna release. So the philosophy is always just be tough, fast, and strong. That's it.
You know, one of the things I love doing when I come to a campus is I like to go in the weight room and talk to the coaches in there. And they really told me here that the players have now taken over the team. It's no longer a situation where the coaches have to coach as hard, as we talked about with Coach Locksley. Have you noticed that, and how does that show up when coaching the younger guys?
I just think, me being here a minute now, I'm just starting to see how close we've actually been multiple times. And I think all these little things come back in that long and like, if you would have did one more rep, we would have probably had that if you would have did that one more rep. So now we're just not looking, we're going to do that one more rep every time. We're just so close, we're sick of being so close, we're going to get that this year.
No said with that. I mean, yeah, like everything that needs to be said from a coach, we say it first.
Yeah.
So we have our player-led meetings. Any scuffle, anything, we handle it ourselves. Before every team period, before every practice, offense has their huddle, we have our huddle, and we come together. It's just like, keep the main thing the main thing. You know, if you're not running to the ball, you're getting off the field. If you have a penalty, you're getting off the field. We have an undisciplined penalty, you know what we got after practice. So we know what hurts us. So this year we're trying to limit what hurts us to be able to perform and get the 10 wins, the 12 wins, and, you know, get to our goals that Coach Locke talked about.
Right. Thanks for taking the time. Stay healthy and have a great year, guys.
Appreciate it.
Safe to say, Talia Tagovailoa left a mark on the Maryland record book. First all-time at the school in all 6 of the categories you see here. That yardage total, second most in Big Ten history, if you include bowl games, as the conference does, behind only Drew Brees. If you don't include pre-2002 bowls, which the NCAA does not in its official stats, he is actually first. Either way, he was really good. Offensive coordinator Josh Gattis is with us now. And Josh, let's start with Leah and replacing the production that he had. Where do you think the quarterback battle stands at this point in camp?
Well, we respect, everything that Leah did for our program. You know, tremendous player. He's left a tremendous legacy, not only at the University of Maryland, but also in the Big Ten Conference. So we're talking about big shoes to fill, but we feel really good about the quarterbacks in our room. A lot of those guys have been here, have prepared in our system, and it's been a friendly competition that's been happening this fall camp, and we're excited to continue to push those guys each and every day to get better.
What are the biggest factors you look for a quarterback in your system?
First and foremost, it's guys that are being able to manage the system, to own and operate and command the offense. That's the first thing. We're looking for guys that are true quarterbacks above the shoulders. Then the second element is we have a pretty exciting offense and some big-time playmakers, so guys that obviously have the ability to pass the football and be threats in the run game. And so we really feel like out of the core guys that we have on our roster, that we can get done the things that we want to accomplish offensively.
Speaking of that run game, tell us a little bit about the offensive line and how they're shaping up.
Yeah, that's been a big challenge. Obviously, we addressed that position in the transfer portal in the offseason, bringing in Josh Kaltenberger, Aluba, and Alan Haran. And so those 3 guys are immediate impact players for us. And then we're still trying to have a competition between the left guard, left tackle. We've got some returning players there that have seen some time there. And so we're excited to continue to develop that position. And as you saw in our offseason additions with the coaching staff, we put a tremendous amount of effort into that position.
Talk about that running back room. You need to have a lot of guys. You never know, right? But you've got some guys in there and some young guys with a lot of talent.
Yeah, Roman Hemby is the face of our program. You said, who could you put one guy out there that's going to do everything right for you? It's Roman. So we feel really good about him and his leadership, what he's brought us. But there's a young guy that's going to create quite a wave on our team. And Nolan Ray is a young guy that redshirted last year. Tremendous talent, really good kid, and just super talented, just fast. So we're excited to continue to see him grow and give him opportunities as well.
How do you think the communication, the helmet communication, and also the tablets on the sideline will help you make adjustments?
We were fortunate in the bowl game to use that to our advantage, and it's a little different now because we didn't have the 15-second cutoff like the NFL model that we're going through with this season, and so it just helps us allow to give extra information to the quarterback pre-snap, but once that cutoff mark hits at the 15-second mark, all communication is eliminated. So with the brand new starting quarterback, we're going to try to use it to our advantage to help prepare those guys for every play.
You mentioned Nolan Ray. Who are some of the other players that have stood out that maybe weren't key contributors a year ago?
You look at our tight end room, how young we were, playing Preston Howard and Dylan Wade. Those 2 guys played as freshmen last year. Losing Corey Dyches, who's a guy who's been really productive. We feel like there's going to be no drop-off at that position. Really excited about Dylan and Preston. Those 2 guys give us big, long bodies at the tight end position who are athletic, that are going to make a ton of plays for us.
You know, it's interesting to look at the way this program has evolved and how much better the defense has gotten. How does that help you guys in going against what is a top-shelf Big Ten defense here in camp?
Yeah, our hats off to our defense. The competition each and every day, iron sharpens iron mentality, and, all the different looks and all the different things that they do that create problems that we see each and every day. I think Coach Williams and the defense staff are doing a tremendous job, building our defense. And when you look at, the strength of our defense, it's the depth and the leadership on that side of the ball. So, they're really helping challenge our offense with some of the young guys and some of the inexperienced leaders right now of really pushing those guys to be the very best.
Josh Gattis, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks a lot for your time, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
We mentioned off the top of the show the level of consistency that Maryland has achieved. 3 straight bowl games and 3 straight bowl wins. It's the first time in 15 years they've made 3 in a row. Were they to make another this year, it would tie for the second longest streak of all time here and longest in nearly 40 years. And the man who has engineered that impressive performance, head coach Mike Locksley, is with us now. Coach, we're just looking at the success, 3 straight years with a bowl win. How have you been able to achieve this level of consistency that maybe hadn't been there in the recent past?
You know what, it'd be great to think is how I've been able to do it, but as I've said before, man, we've had a lot of people come through this program over the last 5 years, players, coaches, staff. We have a system, we have a standard and a structure and a process, but it's really been the work that's been put in, and it doesn't usually entail a lot of talking, but a lot of doing. And you know, last 3 years, we've had players that have bought in to what we call a player-led culture. Our players believe they can win, which is half the battle, and now it's just a matter of building and developing the depth that it takes to play in a really tough league that's gotten even tougher.
You mentioned putting in the work. That was an impressive practice out there today, a really hot day. What has stood out so far early on, about a week or so into preseason?
You know, if we were just to stay where we are today, you know, usually this has been a team when you come off a day off, which yesterday was our day off. We call it Recovery Sunday. It's usually pulling teeth to get them going, especially a hot day like today. But I was, much like you, I came away impressed with the way that our team has shown the maturity of understanding the work that has to be done. You know, we've been a team that's competed and been to bowl games the last few years, but if we want to take the next step, it's going to take a big sacrifice, which the sacrifice is, what can I do differently or better?
You never want to highlight one player, but Leah had a ton to do with the success here the last few years. A record-setting quarterback, not just at Maryland, but in the Big Ten. It appeared today as if you have a 3-man race to replace him. Now bring us up to date on where you think the quarterback position stands.
Yeah, as I said, the thing that Leah did for our program is he left a tradition of how you prepare in that room, and they paid close attention, because when you look at the battle, you know, it's 3, but the 4th guy can come from a Champ Long or a Christian Martin. And so it looks like it's 3, and you would say with Billy having had game experience, Cam having played in the system, and with MJ coming over from NC State, all 3 of those guys have had some really good times and days throughout practice. All 3 of those guys have shown why they are in the mix for competing for it, and they've all shown that they have the ability to run it. Now it's who makes the people around them better. I told the quarterbacks earlier, I shouldn't know which group you're working with, and that tells me a lot about you as a quarterback.
When do you want to know?
Sunday, August 25th, 5 p.m. I'll be meeting with all of them at one time in my office.
Okay, so even if you know before then, you're not going to tell them before then, or kind of?
Well, no, we won't know until then. That's when, I mean, I have a process. I've been through this. We had a few quarterback battles when I was at Alabama. We've had a few here, and so the process of how we figure it out, I've been through. I know that Sunday before we start for UConn, my team's going to need to know who's leading us out. We'll keep it close to the vest until game time, and then the guy that we name the starter will have the opportunity to solidify his position in that role.
The other big question mark, it seems like, on offense is the offensive line. They certainly physically look the part, Locks. I mean, you've got some nice depth there. You got a lot of guys and guys who look like Big Ten linemen. I guess the question is, how do you fit players who haven't played together? How do you fit that puzzle piece? How do you fit those puzzle pieces together here so quickly? What do you think of how that group's grown?
You know what, and this is where the things that I learned from my time down in Tuscaloosa come into play, because when you add Brian Ferentz, you add Damian Roblowski to Brian Braswell, 3 line coaches. If you spent any time down there watching those guys today, they were being coached, every single player, and we understand that some of the depth for our O-line will have to come from young players, that we got to speed up their growth. And we did it by bringing the resources with coaching, but we also have done a great job of evaluating young, talented guys that fit the mold. And like you said, we're starting to look like a Big Ten team on that side of the ball. We finally got the defensive front 7 looking like what it should look like, and I really like the way that the O-line's coming along the way we need them to.
Well, you were talking about the defense. I think that's one of the really great stories about this program here these last couple of years, is you have become a program, and we were talking about this earlier, where arguably last year the defensive side of the ball may have been the better side of the ball, which I don't think we would have thought kind of early on in your tenure. Man, Brian Williams has done a fantastic job, and the players have really bought in. What has made him the right fit? Why has he resonated with your players?
It goes back to, I talked about being comfortable and confident. B-Dub, Brian Williams, as we affectionately call him, B-Dub, is comfortable and confident. He knows who he is as a play caller. He knows who he is as a coach. And those players have taken on his personality. And to me, that's the great sign of a great coach, is anytime you start seeing the players kind of mimic and say and behave and have the habits that he has. I mean, when he talks, they listen. And there's no doubt in my mind that our defense has taken the next step every year, and I expect them to do so this year under B-Dub, under Lance Thompson, James Thomas, Azar, Zach Spavital. That group are really aligned.
I know you're not going to sit there and count victories for us, but I will say the schedule sets up nicely for you guys early on. It does not include Michigan and Ohio State. What was your reaction when you saw a Big Ten schedule for the first time at Maryland without those two?
You know what? I never fully looked at it that way. Now, what I was really happy about, I've been a proponent since the pandemic kicked in. So let's get away from divisions. You know, we've got really talented teams on both sides of the ledger, and we're kind of hurting ourselves with the opportunity of putting more teams in the playoffs because of being a 9-game scheduled league. We don't have Michigan and Ohio State, but let's not think that Oregon isn't a top 3 team I saw today, and USC's a top 25 team. So we still getting hazed a little bit as the new kids on the block. We still get the haze a little bit.
How does it change for you with those schools? Does it change your program at all? I mean, you look down your roster, and it's basically all the Atlantic Seaboard. Will you change at all how you recruit or how you operate?
Here's how I see things. You know, anytime you expand a room, meaning bringing in different people from different areas, different ways of thinking, bringing in those teams did that, and it opens up. You know, for a while, you know, the Big Ten wasn't known as an offensive league or a team that could spread people out. And when you bring in Jed Fish and Dan Lanning and Lincoln down at SC and Deshaun at UCLA, all really talented coaches, all different styles, they keep you up at night. I'm excited.
Hey, last question for you. You had the governor, Wes Moore, out here last week. He played at Johns Hopkins. I mean, he looks the part. Did you consider keeping him around a little bit longer? Maybe see if he could play in the opener?
You know what? If he came through with a few more NIL dollars, I may have to keep him around a little bit. Let's get the state behind this program and win a Big Ten championship.
All right, Mike Locksley, it's always a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, we've been talking about it throughout the show. If history's to be our guide, they're going to figure it out on D. Brian Williams has been the DC for 2 seasons. They're dramatically better. You look at last year compared to 2021 in every category here. 8 fewer points per game, yardage totals, big plays, way down. And the takeaway total has more than doubled, just a night and day difference. And the man who's helped orchestrate that turnaround, defensive coordinator Brian Williams, is with us. Coach, this unit, the unit that you oversee, side of the ball you oversee, was a little bit of a liability early on. It's become a real strength here over the last couple of years. How have you helped transform that defense?
Well, you know, collectively, we've really just taken it one step at a time. We've really put an effort in really developing our players to play together, play as one unit. 11 sets of cleats in the ground, locked in and focused on one task, and you know, I think the fact that we've been able to get them to buy in and trust those principles has allowed us to improve. They see the improvement, and they want to continue improving. So, it makes it enjoyable to be a part of, for sure.
The thing that really stands out when we come out here is you look the part. I mean, this defense is big.
Thank you.
It's physical. Everyone can run out there. The defensive line, I thought, really stood out today, and you bring a lot back there. What has that group done to become a top-shelf Big Ten defensive line?
You know, the thing that is really exciting about this group, the D-line, and just really our entire team, is they got a serious bond around here now, more so than we've ever had in the past. They're more team-oriented functions. These guys are doing more together off the field. They're closer. Coach Davis and his staff have done a tremendous job in the offseason of really pushing them and challenging them. And they're seeing the fruits of it right now, and they want more. So, you know, it's just a matter of us continuing to put them in position to be successful.
Jordan Phillips is a guy that looks the part, moves around, really athletic. What does having a guy that has that type of talent, that type of upside, do for the entire program?
Well, you know, Jordan is a very unique in today's, way of approach of how you go about your business. You know, he's very serious-minded, really no-nonsense type of guy, but he means well, and it comes from the right place, and he really cares about his teammates. And he's come in here and really earned the respect of everyone in the building, and is really dedicated in the way he was raised by his mom, and then also, you know, just his discipline towards what he's trying to do, and the fact that he sacrifices a lot at times, and he doesn't mind taking on double teams and doing the dirty work, and everyone sees that, and it's beginning to be contagious, and we love it.
When you think about the replacements in the secondary, how is that starting to shape up? A lot of athleticism back there, how they're rolling into shape.
Yeah, that's fun. It's, you know, we got competition everywhere. We try to create that every day, but obviously at that position, you know, we're going to start guys that hadn't started before. So, you know, just seeing the consistency in guys like Perry Fisher, Jalen Husky, you know, we got young corners like Braden Lee coming in, doing a really good job, Kevin Humes. Like, these guys are really working hard and really taking in the coaches and Coach Spavital back there, really directing them. And you know, it's just relying on the technique and the fundamentals, and their talents and their length and their speed. It's going to show up. They just got to do the little things.
I've been asking a lot of the coaches, particularly the coordinators, about the helmet communication. How do you see that being able to help your game?
You know, if the offense would slow down a little bit, it'll make a difference. But these guys are going to continue to go fast, and sign language is still the best language to have on the football, on the defensive side at least. So, you know, we'll take advantage of it, though, being able to give them some clues, give them some help, you know, as they see it and move around, and really just communicating with the guys that do most of the verbal communication for us on the field will be really big for us.
Coach, one of the things that's pretty interesting when you think about the Big Ten expansion is that the 4 programs coming in, I'd say by and large, have leaned heavily on offense. It's not to say they're not good defensively, but these are high-level offenses that are coming into the Big Ten. What's been your level of preparation for those teams? I realize you don't play all of them this year, but kind of what did you do in the offseason to prepare for that, and how do you think that might change the way that you have to approach defense?
I really think, you know, I've been blessed and fortunate to be here. This is my 6th year here with Coach Locksley, and we've just worked to really, I think we've been preparing for it since we've been here. Going out and recruiting talented football players, guys with length, guys with speed, guys that play disciplined and tough. You got to have that against those offenses, and you still can't just stop them, like, you know. But it gives you the best chance, and so, you know, we look forward to those challenges that we have with those new teams coming in. We're excited about it. It makes everyone better for it, and we can't wait.
Brian Williams, the defensive coordinator here in Maryland. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank y'all.
How about the impact Roman Hemby's made the last couple years? Only Blake Corum, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Braylon Allen had more yards from scrimmage than the Terps back. Versatile player out of the backfield, 71 receptions over the last 2 years. Hemby and receiver Kaden Prather now with Howard.
Guys, thanks for joining me. Tell me what this offense is starting to shape up to look like now, starting off with the run game.
You know, with the run game, I feel like we have a lot of new faces on the offensive line, but they're guys that can get it done. Me being a leadership guy and being an older guy, just being in the places that I need to be to help this run game, and, you know, when it gets to those 3rd and shorts and those 4th and short opportunities where we stay on the field, just getting it done.
When you say being in the place you need to be, talk more about that.
You know, everything starts with a read. You know, we have reads and gap scheme, run schemes, and things like that, to where it opens and closes in a split second, and I want to be in the right position to where I can hit the holes at full speed and make explosive runs for our team.
How's that pass game coming along?
The pass game is coming along great actually. I know everybody, you know, is excited to see who's going to throw us the ball, but, you know, right now.
You can tell me. You can tell me. Coach said it was okay. You can tell me.
You know what? Man, I wish I could catch passes from all of them, but, you know, we're all being, you know, very encouraging to, you know, all of the quarterbacks, you know, because, you know, that's big, you know, confidence. Nobody, you know, knows how it's going to end, but everyone comes into camp competing every day, and it's all brotherly love at the end of the day.
What's it like to have Coach Locks more involved offensively? Just seems like a new coach, energized on the field.
That's what he tells you guys, but he's always been super involved offensively. You know, at the end of the day, everything goes through him offensively, and, you know, he's a guru of, you know, all positions on offense, especially wide receiver. So it's wonderful gaining information from him.
How about that offensive line? It's a big group.
Oh, yeah. You know, we got a great offensive line, and I feel like the coaches did a great job going out and creating depth for us as well. That's something that I won't say we struggled with in the past, but that's something that I can look at and say that we have success there now. You know, it's a lot of guys, some young guys, but they're all eager to learn. And I was kind of telling him over there that they really come out there every day and they put their best foot forward and they work really hard. And it's hard for me not to want to put my best foot forward and really work and give everything I got when they're going out there and they're doing everything that they can for this program.
You've talked about the young running backs as well. How important is it to have not just you as the lead back, but also have other guys that are going to be able to contribute?
It feels really good. You know, when you look into being in the Big Ten, which is a big conference for running the ball and things like that, and we want to be very multifaceted. You know, we want to have to where we can put people in the game at any given time and not miss a beat. And I feel like we've done that. We got great depth in the room, the position room, and we got a lot of guys that, you know, look at each other and they want to see success. So it's like you got 7 brothers looking behind you that want to see you do the job. They want to see you do your best. So it pulls everybody along.
One of the things we've always known, you guys have done an unbelievable job recruiting, particularly at the wide receiver position. Talk about some of those younger guys that you see coming along.
Ryan Manning, Mekhi White, Shalik Knotts, all those guys are coming along very well. You know, the thing about them, they don't walk around, you know, acting like someone owes them something. They're always open to learn. You know, they're being sponges. You know, they're soaking in everything the coaches and everything the older guys are telling them. So, you know, it's always good hearing questions from them and answering questions. It's a great privilege doing that.
Give me a couple of keys for success this year.
Being together. You know what I mean, and being player-led. You know, you're going to hear that a lot throughout the season, us being player-led, you know, figuring out issues and problems before the coaches can even get to it. So I think the biggest thing is being player-led.
Take me on the field. Some keys to winning on the field from an offensive perspective.
I think just manning the clock. You know, we got a great defense that I feel like will give us endless opportunities to, you know, get drive starts on good field position and things like that. And I think we just want to be on the field, you know, make the big plays when we need to make them. And we always talk about winning the explosive play battle. If we can win the explosive play battle and eliminate turnovers, we'll come up on the winning side of a lot of our games.
So thanks a lot, guys. Stay healthy and have a great year.
Thank you.
Wrapping things up in College Park, the Terps schedule affords them a chance to start quickly. They don't play an FBS team that finished with a winning record last year until October 11th when they host Northwestern on a Friday night. Each of the last 7 games, though, is against a bowl team from a year ago, including visits to Oregon and Penn State. By the way, the Terps and Georgia, the only teams in the country that have not lost to a non-conference opponent in the last 3 years. That includes bowl games, so some good company there. And Howard, you talk about that non-conference success, and then you look at the early conference schedule. You know, a lot of people around here, fans are going to look at it and say, hey, man, we got a chance to really start off well, to be in a great spot when USC comes to town. And around here, they're saying, hey, Michigan State, a whole new team. You don't really know what to expect there. Same with Indiana. Northwestern beat them last year. So I don't think anyone around here in this building is sitting around counting wins. However, it's favorable early, and it really feels like they can pick up some momentum.
And I think that's important. And listen, we can go back a couple of years, and they had the ability to pick up that momentum. And things haven't quite gone the way they wanted to when they got into the meat of the schedule. But things just seem different this year a little bit to me. And I think maybe that's the enthusiasm that Coach Locksley has. And listen, he seems more excited and rejuvenated as far as a head coach is, and been as excited as I've seen him in a long time. So
can we just say he looks good too?
He looks great. He looks fabulous. So I think some of the things that you start to hear about this team, about how selfless they are. I think of a guy like Isaac Bunyan on the offensive side. He was a defensive lineman. That's what he's been playing here. Now he's a guard, and he looked outstanding today. And I think the reason I point him out because it's about sacrifice. It's about getting your best players on the field, and sometimes that means moving them out of positions that they've been comfortable with. But he's a guy that when I watched him today, I'm like, wow, this kid has opportunity to be special. But this is where this program is starting to get to. This is player-led now. It's not the coaches having to scream and yell about what they want, the expectations. These older players know what those expectations are right now.
It's interesting. I was talking to Roman Hemby, and he was saying to me that the coaches kind of preach, hey, you always have 10 guys at the top who are great, 10 guys at the bottom who you kind of worry about. And then it's what happens with the other 80. And Roman Hemby was telling me, man, like, it's not 80 anymore. Like all those guys are gravitating toward the top. He feels like there's something different here too. And I know this time of year you often hear that type of thing, but I'm with you. It did feel a little bit different here, and it feels like if you can figure out the quarterback position and figure out the offensive line, it doesn't feel like there are as many question marks as they have been in the past, although I realize those are two really big facets of the team.
And I'd say this, and let's look at it from this perspective, right? So much emphasis and so much pressure is placed on that position in the previous years because of the talented guy that was there, that those expectations I don't think are going to carry over to the new winner of this particular job. I think that person is going to have the ability to rely upon the entire team now, and that's not a knock on anyone, but you have to worry about this entire team to go out and have success. And I think that's one of the reasons when you talk to the coaches around here that it's player driven now. They really believe in one another and don't want to let each other down.
Well, they've reached a level of consistency here, and so now the question is, what will it take, Howard, to kind of take that next step?
You've got to be able to win the close games. I think that's going to be the key to it. You've got to be able to limit the big plays and be able to play your game. Be able to go out and not hurt yourself. Remember, it was Terp on Terp.
Yeah.
We used to hear that so much, right?
Terps versus Terps.
Yeah, Terp. You can't have that for those teams that are taking that next step. And if they can eliminate some of those mistakes, take care of the football, come up with those turnovers, they'll be fine.
Well, fascinated to see how it plays out here at Maryland. Fascinated for our next stop, too. We are on our way to State College, PA, to check out the Nittany Lions, a team people were talking about as a college football playoff contender. Howard and I will be there, but you know who else will be there?
Oh, Coach DiNardo.
DiNardo and Yogi Roth. It's a full house
backfield. So that means we're going to have a team meeting at the Creamery.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Family outing.
Yes. Yeah, we would have done that anyway.
That's true.
No matter who's there. Looking forward to that. Thanks so much to everyone who helped us out here, and a great day at Maryland. We will see you from Penn State.